Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends has gone places that no other cartoon has dared to go, and never have I realized it more than in the 5th season. Here I thought I outgrew this show, and they were just throwing up crazy episodes. Like Mr. Harriman becoming a stoner in this season, Ed lying about all the episodes and what happened in them, and even Madam Foster becoming a superhero. We've got 13 episodes that we really gotta dive into, and I guarantee if you're my age, you don't remember them at all. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Johnny Tunes or Johnny 2000s to catch up your 2000s nostalgia bait. And without further ado, let's dive into Season 5 of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
What am I getting so? Stop right there, mister!
So the first episode of the 5th season is called Cheese A Go-Go, and I'm not sure if you're too familiar with your Cartoon Network history, but this is actually a part of a 5-part crossover series where Cartoon Network was trying to make a promo for mac and cheese, so they made a marathon called Invaded, where they had each of their shows they had on at the time feature an invasion of aliens, and it was actually a really cool concept that didn't really pan out the way they intended, but we got some good episodes, and it actually starts with Foster's Home.
Where do you gotta go? Home? The store?
I'm so excited because I love cheese, and so to start out with him as a character is so perfect. We start with Frankie, and it's kind of a day in her life. She's returning a bunch of presents, only to be distracted by Cheese being at the store, which is kind of random. I don't know why he's there, neither does she. He just says he's gotta go, and nobody knows what that means. Meanwhile, she's holding up this whole line, and I feel bad for Frankie because this is not her fault.
Gotta go. Weird.
So she ends up tracking Cheese down and trying to figure out what he wants, but he just destroys a movie theater, and honestly, what are we supposed to do? Mac gets involved when he sees Cheese and is trying to figure out the same thing as well. Blue was watching a movie called Brain-Sucking Aliens, and it pretty much traumatizes him.
Get a hold of your brats, lady! Don't you know movies are no place for children?
He did it.
If I had a nickel for every time a 2000 show talked about how a horror movie traumatized them, literally nowadays, like, all the kids seen every horror movie, like Five Nights at Freddy's, like, it's almost, like, normal. So Frankie rounds up Cheese, Blue, and Mac to get back to the house, continuing her day of chores, but you know what? Cheese is just causing so many issues, more than Blue, surprisingly, to kill everybody. Oh my gosh. They pick up Eduardo from the dentist, and he is drowsy from the tooth medicine, which is so funny, because why would a kid's show need to cover this topic? I don't know, it's just cute.
Man, Cheese, you always so crazy. I know you have a Cadillac somewhere.
This is when Blue starts picking up on the fact that all Cheese's signals are kind of the same as an alien that he saw in the movie. Cheese even ruins the doctor's office pretty quickly. When they pick up Madam Foster, it's so funny because apparently they're in court suing Jackie Knowles, the little green guy. I had to look this up. He looks like an upside down explanation point, and it's really funny.
I made it 3 weeks ago!
Order! One more outburst and I will find you in contempt.
Oopsie. Pardon me.
Episode feels like the definition of filler, like with Eduardo and this whole court case. It's almost like a bunch of random mini scenes tied together by Cheese running around. It's so fun, but it feels like a road trip type episode. Blue ends up stealing the radio of the bus when he's told to wait to try to stop Cheese.
What should I do?
Why don't you just stay here?
I'm on it.
Oh my gosh. So Blue goes off chasing Cheese into the city. Meanwhile, Mac and Frankie have to gather everybody else to help them stop everything. It reminds me of the security episode. Remember when they started the security system in the Foster's home and Cheese, they were just trying to lock him out? Like, they could have used that right here, right now. So Blue takes Cheese and runs up to the observatory in the city.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yes, he did.
And he like literally locks up the professors, and I swear this whole city looks a lot like Townsville from the Powerpuff Girls, but hey, that's just me being biased because I know Craig McCracken created both shows. Frankie is like determined to stop Bloo for whatever he's doing, but he's determined to make contact with aliens and get Cheese taken away. Kind of reminds me of when he was trying to kill Cheese the first time he met him. Yeah, but it's a little less intense. Until Frankie forcibly takes Cheese out of the observatory. The cops show up, and yeah, I guess Blue's screwed here. I don't know what's going on. So Frankie tries to return Cheese to his little creator, you know, the little girl from the episode in season 2.
Frankie Foster, what are you doing here? Cheese! Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go!
Frankie, like, wants to forgive everything just if she figures out where Cheese has to go, because he's talking about it the whole episode. It's very frustrating. She learns Cheese just does this. It's a part of his personality, which is crazy. It really feels like it's speaking to the autism community because, you know, the nonverbal cues that Cheese likes to give, lack of social skills, he really starts an interesting conversation about how cartoons used to portray this without necessarily meaning to at the time. Frankie gets a phone call, and it turns out everybody else was screwed over by this one trip during the day, which this is why Frankie is so screwed, because every time she's not on her game, the entire house gets screwed over, and that's a really complicated responsibility to place on a 20-year-old. I can't believe they're doing this to her.
You is the tall, skinny one, and I is the fat one. It's okay, I know I fat. I'm comfortable with it.
And of course, that's how the episode ends, with everybody going to prison, which is kind of a relevant plot line. The episode ends with the two scientists checking in the observatory, and yeah, they're really sketchy. They laugh like Beavis and Butthead, which has to be like a specific reference. It's this old adult animated cartoon, and I can't think of what else they're quoting here. But Cheese runs in, and a bunch of alien ships show up to end the episode. And this is not a cliffhanger, this is part of the larger narrative, and I guess we're assuming that Cheese actually is an alien? Oh my gosh, what a crazy plot.
It's where people go to sell a few things.
Hey, how else are we gonna have room in the house for all the junk we're gonna buy unless we unload all this junk on some unsuspecting sap?
Episode 2, we have the buck swaps here, and honestly, these episode titles do not give me any information. When I'm looking back at these titles, I'm like, I don't even know what episode that's referring to. It feels so vague. Like, even later, we have one called Schlock Star, or A Fair Weather Friends, and it's like, can you really tell what that's about? Come on, guys, we need easier titles. This one is really creative because I didn't expect them to go to a swap meet. A swap meet is like a gathering of different people that have their own tables and sell different things, almost like a garage sale times 50. I used to go to them a lot growing up. It's how I grew my VHS and DVD collection. So it's cool to see Foster's actually go out to one of these.
Oh, no, you didn't! Oh, yes, I did!
I don't know, it's kind of asking for chaos when you think about it, because like they already have issues in the house. Why would we bring 50 million people into it? We follow this really scary trenchcoat man that is basically trying to rob people at the swap meet, like a pickpocketer, and oh my god, I'm so scared of these people. Like, I always have paranoia at like airports and stuff that somebody's gonna do this, and this man is a manifestation of my nightmare.
Hey! Watch it! You could have crushed a baby!
And everybody has their relationship to this swap meet. Like, Madam Foster and Mr. Harriman are selling a bunch of stuff from Foster's, like even their beds, which is kind of sketchy when you think about it. I don't know, I think Madam Foster's a really sweet person sometimes, but then other times she'll just ditch some of the main characters. Like, it almost seems out of character for her.
77,
77,
74?
78,
76.
79,
75?
80.
Okay, 80!
Of course, Blue has to have his single obsession for this episode, and in this instance, it's a graphic model of rabid animals, which is so crazy that Blue finds this interesting. I don't know why he's doing this.
Mac, are you seeing this? It's perfect! Perfectly disgusting. Hey, how much for the mongoose cobra thingy?
And this episode takes a turn to be more about Eduardo. So Eduardo finds a $100 bill and is just excited on how to use it. That's when all the friends start turning on him and asking him to borrow it. Meanwhile, they're all trying to give him a speech like, don't spend it on anybody else, you found it, spend it on yourself. But things go crazy one by one. Of course, Blue is the first person to want it. He's the most selfish character, which makes the most sense.
You spend it however you want and don't listen to anyone who tells you.
And then we get Mac starting to get into it. He apparently had to sell all of his Robot Wars memorabilia to make Bloo's movie, which is such a random callback to an episode before this. I don't know why they need the continuity to be perfect. And yeah, he loses his mind and wants Eduardo to spend his $100 on him. The next one is really sad. Like, it's basically Wilt is carrying a mirror and then falls under it, basically about to die, and is begging Eduardo to spend the money on a single drink.
I help my dying friend not to die. One lemonade, please.
Shucks, that's too big for my britches. I can't break 100.
Okay, 2 lemonades.
And not even just like a $100 drink, like literally $1's worth of drink. But since the guy can't break it, they just leave Wilt there. Oh my gosh. And yeah, Madam Foster just gets crueler and crueler, and it's like, come on, Madam Foster, what's going on with this character? Frankie tries to be the most responsible and, you know, encourage Eduardo to use the money on his own thing, but then she sees a Zamboni, or a Zambini. Oh, what do they call it? Okay, whatever. It cleans the house, and she's just like, I deserve this. With everybody going full insane, the giant montage of everybody needing to get this money from Eduardo goes haywire. The Mario Brothers make an appearance, which I was not expecting. Mario movie, question mark? And yeah, I just like when they have like long chase sequences like this. It reminds me like the most fun parts of Foster's.
So sorry.
And I can't believe I don't remember this episode at all. Even Eduardo dressed as a girl doesn't look normal to me. I'm like, what's going on? Meanwhile, the man who actually has been pickpocketing people is still trying to get away with robbery. When he takes the $100 bill, he ends up accidentally getting into a bunch of karmic situations of getting hurt, getting bricks on top of him. It kind of reminds me of Baby's Day Out.
What's going on here? State your purpose.
What, like in life?
This is the guy, officer. He owes me $300.
The only one ending up arrested is Bloo, which is kind of fair, honestly. Bloo literally broke this man's statue, didn't pay for it, and yeah, you feel bad. But then at the end of the episode, all the people in the house are apologizing to Eduardo for trying to trick him into using all of his $100.
Seems we really lost our heads.
Shameful business and all that. Yes.
I'm sorry. Is that okay?
You greedy little... Ow!
It's really wholesome because you think that this is like a really grand gesture until Eduardo reveals that he actually has like hundreds of dollars in his safe. So it's not even like he needed the money, it's just that he wanted it. And they got him a dollhouse because he wanted that at the beginning of the episode. I think that's actually really sweet too. But all around, such a funny episode, and the way it ends up going from swap meet to chase scene to full on like robbery, I don't even know how I forgot about this episode. But hey, it's definitely cool to revisit it.
Yeller goes on top.
The next episode is kind of a duo episode between Madam Foster and Bloo, which I was never expecting to get, but I am actually super happy this even happened. We're getting later into the series, so like giving every individual character their own episodes is cool, but actually getting deeper into the one's relationships is what we're missing, and I like that we dive into it. It starts with the entire group of Fosters heading to a amusement park. There's a really giant roller coaster that excites Bloo and Mac, and they just want to have this challenge where like the first one to barf loses. And yeah, Bloo's of course super competitive and excited, and when Frankie is calling for everybody to get buddies, you know, so that way you don't lose your partner. Used to do that on field trips, if you guys can remember.
Mac and...
Blue? I'm going with Madam Foster! She's my buddy!
Buddy? Oh, this will be a hoot.
And Bloo wants to go with Madam Foster just because he's gonna get there earlier, and this makes Mac angry, of course, and that's when we say goodbye to all the regular characters, and we get Foster and Bloo. It's actually really cute, like a little grandma, and it's like spoiled nephew. We follow Blue's perspective of frustration as she just keeps finding excuses not to go to the park, but to get her sweater fixed at the sewing shop across the street. So that's why it's called Say It Ain't So. Kind of a cool name when you think about it.
You know, a buddy is supposed to be understanding to his or her buddy's needs.
So Bloo essentially plays the straight man, which he definitely deserves after all of his aggravating attitude toward Mac. So Madam Foster goes completely haywire. Right when you think that they're gonna get back to go to the roller coaster, she finds a new reason to wait even longer.
Grab some pine and spin some twine, baby.
Excuse me!
And then she keeps having this speech with Bloo about how he needs to be a good buddy and patient while they wait for another buddy. And it's, of course, he tried to take advantage of her, and this is his karma. He then starts trying to use the objects within the store to plan his escape, which, Bloo, that is not a good buddy. So despite the fact he's showing face for her, he is trying to get out of here. We get a funny moment where he's just at the fun zone, and it's so funny.
No, 8. That's 8. I mowed the store 8 times. Stupid kid. His mom's kept him here so long he's forgot how to count.
We have this haunting image of him as an old man, like, dying in this place with this nightmare-fueled sequence, and honestly, I like this a lot. We get a lot of old Bloo throughout this season. You'll see it more than once. Then there's a cute little gag where across the street, everybody is trying to mimic to Bloo what their experience is gonna be. And not only is Mac doing it, but then this old man does it too. Right before they're about to get out, Madam Foster runs into someone she knows, the girl from the bowling episode. Okay, that's funny. And yeah, they end up staying even longer. Bloo then uses the fabrics to create a fake line across the highway so he'll be able to cross, but then finds himself stuck as a crosswalker, which is so funny. Like, he's just walking people to and from the street, and this is one of my favorite bits. This is when I decided the season's really good, because it is so funny. He finally gets there and doesn't even have the cash to back it up. Oh my gosh. So he makes fake cash and heads right back over again. This doesn't work, so he has one last resort. He creates a balloon out of fabric, which I don't know scientifically how that works, and he floats himself all the way to the roller coaster. Oh my gosh. So it ends with him on a bad note, actually betraying Madam Foster and landing on top of the ride. He ends up throwing up, so he doesn't even pass the test, and Mac wins at the end of the episode. Just goes to show, you have to be a good buddy. Write that down, people. I just like that we get Madam Foster, like, solely in this episode, and seeing Bloo have to, like, be the straight guy, like, the way Mac was during all of his hijinks. It's so karmic, and I don't feel bad for all these negative things happening to Bloo. It just kind of enhances the comedy for me.
Paradise.
Speaking of old people from this last episode, we have Something Old and Something Blue, episode 4. So this episode primarily takes place at an old folks' home, starting with all the characters getting on the bus, which is crazy that 4 episodes in a row have been doing that, but hey, I'm not judging. I like a little road trip and change of scenery, but Foster's is supposed to be the staple of this whole show. I'm very interested in how the house works, so I'm excited to get back to that.
I mean, old people are so old. No offense, Frankie.
None taken. Wait, what? Hey!
So everybody's excited to go to the elderly home and spend time with people, except for Madam Foster. She thinks it is a psych ward, which is so funny because I could see an old person seeing that way.
The Fours.
So they end up performing in front of all the old geezers, and Bloo was, of course, complaining the entire time. Even the old people don't like the singing, so he starts bonding with one of the old folk, only to learn that this place isn't torture, it's actually paradise, and you can actually be a jerk and get away with it, which Bloo is entranced by. And of course,
If I asked Frankie to do that, she would have dumped it all over my head. Especially if I called her a nincompoop.
Bloo will do whatever it takes to get his selfish ways, and I love how we can never take a break from that, honestly. He doesn't even want to leave the senior center by the time they're gone. He even shows up the next day, using this old man just to get more time here. So then he faces off against this bodyguard who will not let him in because he's not old. until Bloo gets thrown into a fountain, gets wrinkled up by water, and then looks like an old person. And ew, he looks haunted in this part. So now in the B plot, everybody at Foster's is worried he's missing and caring about his well-being, which, by the way, you're gonna not feel bad about soon once you figure out where he is. He gets fed pudding, he bonds with this old man, and he has to actually keep up with his old appearances by throwing water on him, which proves to be a challenge after a while.
Crazy! Yes! Well, all this relaxing has caused me to... Go! Restroom!
Mac ends up finding him at the park and gets really frustrated, as I would too, and Bloo just kind of plays it off like this is his grandson, and then Mac joins him on the journey back to the old folks' home.
Knock off the racket, half-pint. Some folks are trying to relax.
Yeah, back in my day, we respected power poles.
Of course, Mac is telling him how irresponsible and rude this is because it's not polite, and Bloo turns against him, getting Mac kicked out. So now the rest of the house is kind of upset that they were like caring so much about where he went, and now he's stuck. He doesn't even want to leave. It's not like an escape episode in that sense.
I need to be taken care of. In fact, look at me. I'm starting to dry out!
So as they're trying to get Bloo back, Eduardo, Coco, and Wilt decide to dress up like old people themselves. Okay, funny. And then they end up getting enticed by the place too. Oh my gosh. So Mac goes to Frankie and Mr. Harriman, who are obviously very frustrated, but they don't really want to help. They're just like, this is just another Bloo situation. Then we get, of course, Madame Foster coming in like the superhero, because she thinks this is just straightforward evil place. So she, alongside Mr. Harriman, dresses up as this superhero, and this is probably her funniest episode in this. And Mac is her sidekick, which is so relevant. Mac will never be the main character, will he? So they break into the senior center, only to sneak around, and of course, Madame Foster has to throw in a bunch of jokes. But they finally get to Bloo and ready to get him out. But he doesn't even want to go. He's like fighting against them. So Madame Foster turns on essentially every single person in this home, and Bloo just essentially turns on Foster's.
I know I haven't worked like a dog for 112 years just to have to walk around and feed myself and change the channel with my own fingers, and neither did you!
Ready to fight Madame Foster, which everybody gathers around for, and you're like not sure whose side you're supposed to be on for this. But yeah, he eventually loses to his elderliness. I mean, he gets tired and falls asleep. I'm not sure what you qualify that as. But yeah, he can't take on Madame Foster, so they end up whisking him out of the old folks' home. And that's kind of how the episode ends. I feel like Bloo just went a little too far with this one.
Keep it down, you kids! Back in my day,
Honestly, just because it was funny, I'll give him the excuse, but you know what? It's insane. He ends up trying to act like an old person outside Foster's home and is just like breathing for the rest of the credits. Such a funny way to end the episode. All around, a very funny episode.
Knees acting up again.
I gotta be honest with you guys, the next episode, Season 5, Episode 5, Blue Dude and the Magic Potato of Power, is just straightforward nonsense. I've never seen a more confusing episode of TV, probably ever. There's a lot of really funny moments which keep it grounded for me, but because of all the convolution of the plot, I am very taken back by this. It's probably my least favorite in all of Foster's, but that's not necessarily a horrible thing. Like, the fact I still find this entertaining is kind of fun.
But here's the deal. The Queen, she's awesome. Except she doesn't know Snooty's all, I hate everything, and it just burns my butt that he gets away with it. Now, you know that safe? Well, I got one of the keys.
The references are over the moon through this episode, honestly. So it's all about Mac and Bloo. Blue's telling this story to Mac about him and his adventure with this crystal.
Sleep on your back, baby head rolled on, an amazing rock star, Superdude. Blue! Sorry, okay,
Almost like a Wizard of Oz type plot, but a lot of folktale written in here. So let's see if I can get this straight. So we got Bloo as the main character, the Blue Superdude, who was actually trying to get this crystal. Eduardo plays this little boy or little girl from the village, and honestly, he's so funny throughout this.
Slapping an eye and biting it, oh no you did! And then tumble, and just like this, and then bonk, beep, bonk, boop, beep,
He's obsessed with potatoes, even in this context. Coco is an alien who is out to retrieve this crystal potato. Wilt is a magic sorcerer who wants to return the crystal to its owner.
The awesome creator of everything.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why should we give it to you?
'Cause I said so.
'Cause you said so.
Suddenly, boom! A huge explosion totally blows the room apart. When the dust clears, we see...
And then we have Harriman as the main antagonist. It's Lord Snooty. He's a mean-spirited police officer who's out to ruin all the fun for imaginary friends. And honestly, this looks like an evil dictator for sure. Mr. Harriman is hilarious.
How did he?
I don't know, the guy's a magician or something.
Frankie is this fairy who comes in and she doesn't even like who she is and helps the Superdude to stop Snooty and his tyranny. And then Madame Foster is this queen who wants all the friends to have fun and is unaware of Snooty's power-hungry nature, which is also very intriguing.
In order to get the key to the safe where the crystal of power is hidden, the 4 adventurers agreed to the 3 tasks of doom.
Mac, despite not being seen in Blue's story, is the awesome creator of everything at the very end, so it's kind of interesting. The episode features a title card without a frame, which is kind of cool to look like a comic book, something they've never done in the show yet. This episode actually did get nominated for an Annie Award in music for TV production in 2007, but lost to The Simpsons, which is kind of sad.
Firecracker, sis, boom, ah! Superdude, rah, rah, rah!
They make so many references too. It's like Eduardo enters the bar-like area. It's called the Most Nicely Spaceport, which is kind of a call out to the cantina in Star Wars, which I've never seen, but okay. Then they actually reference Eduardo in A Charlie Brown Christmas, because everybody around him's dancing, and this is hilarious. So Blue and his friends agree to go through with a bunch of tasks, and they ultimately succeed with this giant key, and they plan on storming the Queen's castle to take out Snooty's minion. And they get the crystal from its imprisonment and are quickly stopped by Snooty and even more minions. So Blue Superdude manages to fight off all the minions and tries to get away to the Queen. After a long chase between everybody, they finally make it to the Queen's room, who tells her about Snooty's intentions.
Lord Snooty is a dodo head. He takes all our fun stuff and locks it up all in this big old dumb safe, and then it's like, ha, you're all sad now.
Yeah!
So everybody starts to get consumed by greed, each wanting the crystal to themselves, which actually is starting to give me some Lord of the Rings vibes. These references just never end. And Blue the Superdude is just not having that. So it's up to Blue to eventually throw the crystal off a cliff and it shatters to be powerless. Eventually Blue is finished with the story and we reveal that Blue's story is actually a complete exaggeration of the day's events, and in reality Blue and his friends were helping Frankie do her chores. And the crystal was actually Mac's video game system, much to Mac's dismay.
No, not potato crystal of power! Don't you understand that those guys wouldn't leave it alone? It was gonna fall into the hands of evil! I had to sacrifice it, oh, awesome creator of everything!
Aw. So yeah, this whole thing was just a surprise and a half.
Cheers, love. Here's brilliant. Right, this is my crib.
The next episode we have is called Schlock Star, and it's another Blue being difficult episode, but we actually get to see a lot of friends we haven't seen in the show before, including this little cat with a scarf, which we've actually seen in the background of plenty of episodes, but haven't met him until now, the little pink squirrel, and the drummer and guitarist I definitely recognize, but yeah, I don't really know them outside of this.
You're not into your, band. What? But why?
So Blue sees that they are starting a band called Pizza Party, and he is just insistent that he wants to be a part of it. He doesn't even ask them, he just inserts himself into this whole narrative.
We rule!
We? Blue, you're not in...
At first, they have trouble saying no to him, with the lead singer even being too shy, but they then kick him out, and yeah, he is just not supposed to be a part of this. You know how Blue acts when this happens. He just gets angry. He essentially is like, I want to start a competing band called Taco Fiesta. Okay. So he recruits Wilt, Eduardo, and everybody and tries to create a competing band while he's dressed like Kiss. I can't believe he's dressed like the Kiss band. That's insane to me, honestly.
We are a band.
Since when?
Oh, since forever! Jeez, now places!
And he's just so selfish right off the bat, making it not fun for Eduardo, Wilt, or Coco. But he's so determined to win. He just doesn't really have any talents. It seems like everybody around him has more talent and come together a lot easier. And then when he's thrown into the frame, he just ruins things, honestly. He gets really furious with Mac because he agrees to be Pizza Party's manager, which is actually really sweet. Mac has such a creative vibe to him that he wants to be involved. And of course, Blue just cannot be happy for him.
Mac, you don't want to record them, do you? They're just a bunch of sniveling babies. Come on, let's go break into Mr. Harriman's underwear drawer again.
When Blue learns that Pizza Party started making a CD and it's getting sold throughout the house and they're getting a lot of attention, oh my god, the cover art is hilarious. Talk to the jeans, that's so funny. He just gets even more furious with Power, getting angry at the entire band for wearing their merch. Oh my gosh, Blue, not fair. So when everybody goes to a little garage concert, they finally woo over the whole house even more. Next thing you know, a battle of the bands commences with Taco Fiesta and Pizza Party.
No, not fun! I'm going to destroy you! That's not fun!
What do you guys think? Want to play a show?
A battle, not a show!
But they kicked Blue out of Taco Fiesta, so it's kind of insane that Blue went out of his way to come up with the name and then they kept it. Like, come on. So there's this whole Battle of the Bands part of the episode, which I was not expecting to see. Like, I feel like this plot has been done in so many shows, but at least this just centers around Blue's selfishness more than anything. Goo becomes like the on-air talent and starts introducing us to the band, and we get like a little fake documentary.
Who wants a competition? Well, they get lemon with me, you're gonna get a slap. Ah! I've got 27 costume changes alone. Game, set, match. I'll blow them away.
Blue starts to record himself as if it's like a Vogue interview, and he's just so ridiculous. I like seeing him in all the different outfits, though. Like, that is my favorite part of this whole show. Meanwhile, the Battle of the Bands finally commences. Taco Fiesta does a really good job, then so does Pizza Party, and the song that they keep singing is so funny. It just sounds like a stalker song. Like, listen.
Alone and heartbroken, I went to the mall.
And yeah, by the end of it, we have Blue come out in this like giant crystal and everybody's excited for his performance, but he ends up not even singing or learning a single song. Oh my gosh.
Are you ready to run? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So it's just so awkward because of course he got his karma once again, and all the friends kind of feel bad for him, so they decide to step in and start performing, making him look like a better person. Aww. So yeah, hopefully he takes this into account, or he just goes back to the same selfish character he was last episode. Dealer's choice on this one. But yeah, at least we get like kind of a happy ending, despite the fact that Blue didn't really deserve to get it. And yeah, they celebrate all together, and it's all happy vibes. They ask him to be the special effects wizard, which is kind of perfect because it was the one thing he was actually good at. Aw, I think.
I say poo-poo to the pooping of parties. Mature sophisticates such as ourselves have much more interesting things to attend to.
We do?
The next episode kind of reminds me of the episode Bye Bye Nerdy. It's episode 7, A Bride to Be, which I don't really like the name of that title at all, but I guess it made sense to everybody else on staff. I don't know. So we start the episode with Duchess, which I'm convinced it's about to be her and like a wedding of some sort, which thank God it's not. We don't see a lot of her that much, especially after the first season, honestly. It's just Mac and Blue having a good old time as kids. And Blue, like, wears a Viking hat, which is kind of random. Mac ends up saying he has to leave for something he won't understand, or Blue won't understand. So Blue just gets really fixated on the fact that Mac is not telling him something, which, fair enough, because he's embarrassed him really bad in the past.
I just don't want Blue to know, you know?
I don't understand.
And just like the episode in Bye Bye Nerdy, where Bloo was convinced that Mac was a nerd, and he was like trying to protect him from all that, this is the same thing, but this time, he's convinced that Mac is getting married. Oh my gosh. So based on what Frankie and Mac talk about, it's basically confusing him, and he just goes with it. He assumes that this is his whole thing. So then we get one of my favorite side characters. Bloo ends up going to the roof of the building, so frustrated that Mac is gonna get married, and meets this little French teardrop, which tells him the story of how his owner got married and left him never to be seen again.
Stop! It will. And I am now your only friend. For when you laugh, the world she laughs with you. But when you cry with Monsieur Oui.
And Bloo is really struck by this, but I'm just focused on all this guy's dialogue. He is hilariously written. Who is this guy? So Bloo is determined to make sure that Mac has a good time with him and doesn't get married, okay? His insecurity is that Mac is becoming a man, and since he's an imaginary friend, he won't be a man, so he starts to do things that are more, adult driven. Like, he's like, I don't play anymore, and he gets so sophisticated, even changes his name to Bob instead of Bloo, which I don't know how that makes a big difference, but okay.
Bob Q Kazoo? Man? Blue. Bob, whatever, we have a party to destroy, remember?
Yeah, Mac is just frustrated, honestly, because Bloo has just gone too far all the time. Like, this is not fun. Bloo ends up seeing a father and son build a house together, so he's like, I have to do that. That's an adult thing to do. So Mac and Bloo go to this shed that's already done, and Bloo starts wrecking it. He becomes like a handyman from here on out, which is kind of crazy.
This shed is a wreck! Come on,
Blue!
Fixing the sink, breaking a bunch of stuff just to get a reason for him and Mac to get closer together. And I don't know why his whining makes me laugh every time. Poor Mac, though. He can't just hang out with his friend. And of course, this is such a big miscommunication that they never talked about. He says he has a day job, but we don't really know where he goes. We just know that it's like frustrating for Mac. He brings literal bacon home, and I don't know if he's understanding what he should be doing right now.
So what did you actually do all day?
9 to 5. 9 to 5.
Mac keeps leaving the house because obviously Bloo is acting inauthentic, and it's not cool. Blue's reaction to everything Mac says is actually really funny. This is what I love about the Fosters comedy. It's just Bloo being a jerk. So Mac and Bloo officially break up after a long argument of neither of them admitting what they think is going on. And so Bloo goes to sulk at the top of the house with a teardrop. Aww. Bloo takes everything to the next level after this argument and shows up at Mac's apartment. Oh my gosh. He finds an invitation to a wedding. Turns out he is going to a wedding. It's just not his. And of course, Bloo has to come in with giant feathers and bombs, and like, he just ruins this entire wedding.
Blue, that was bananas! I can't believe how perfectly our plan worked.
Only Mac gets super excited, and I was not expecting that. Turns out he's more happy that Bloo is acting like himself instead of this grown adult man, which, fair enough, honestly. And then we learn that Mac wasn't actually getting married. Of course, it was just a family member. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Bloo put him through all of this, but he doesn't seem to care. I guess it's a happy ending for everybody except the marriage.
Don't play coy with me. I saw you kissing the best man!
Ooh.
I don't know why that's not addressed, but okay, yeah, we just ended here. Episode 8 is called Weather Affair Friends, and like I said, these titles are not super clear. This basically is about Bloo befriending a really rich kid and forgetting about Mac. Kind of like the opposite we saw in the last episode, where Mac was outgrowing him. And it's funny because this is an exact plot that was done on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where they meet this rich kid, and yeah, it's just funny that they're trying to do it here.
Whoa, a limousine.
And a really long black car.
It starts out with Mac and Bloo having a good old time together when a rich kid shows up and he's looking to adopt a friend. I mean, not adopt, he's looking to buy a friend. And of course they have to explain to him that friends are free, you don't have to buy it. And he's like, wow, that's not fun. Which of course a rich person would say. And Bloo is just so taken aback by this guy. He's like impressed by all of his demeanor and how he's acting, which is crazy because he's very disrespectful.
I'm already made of money, so what am the point?
You're talking my language, kid.
It's just crazy rich people stuff. So as Mac shows him around the house and he's keeping an eye out for one of his friends, Bloo tells a lot of really rude jokes about all of the friends, only to make this kid laugh over and over again, and I can pretty much guess where this is about to go. Of course, Duchess tries to get this rich kid's attention because she's like, we have the same lifestyle, and it's kind of funny. Until he's like, I want to adopt Bloo. And Bloo is so upset when Mac doesn't let it happen. It's so funny.
Bloo is not for sale.
Are you crazy, Mac? I mean, 10,000.
I wouldn't give up Bloo for all the money in the world.
Wow. You heard my lunatic friend, Barry. No deal.
Because it's like, he worked so hard to get into this house, and of course he is like willing to throw it away just for money. Like, that is such a Bloo thing to do. He tries to act like he's okay with not going through with it, but yeah, you know Bloo wants it, because this guy walks out with a paddle ball of all things. The next day, Mac runs into Bloo walking out of the mansion, and of course he's not even being subtle, so Mac is just really angry.
Tried to resist him, but he forced me to go in and play with all his really cool toys and eat his fine gourmet lunches. Look, nothing happened! I didn't even touch his paddle ball, I swear!
Bloo doesn't know how to make this up to him, so they get into a big argument. Only for Bloo to say he's never going to do this again. He even tries to start hitting himself to get Mac's attention, and honestly, this is where it's getting toxic, guys.
Bad imaginary friend! Bad imaginary friend! Bad imaginary friend!
Keep going.
You do not ever associate with somebody who harms themselves because you're not giving them a certain amount of attention. That's a lesson for everybody out there. Of course, we get a montage of Bloo continuing this charade behind Mac's back, and it honestly feels so much like cheating. Like, him and this rich kid are getting along, and of course, Duchess is getting more and more jealous, so she inserts herself into the narrative, which she hasn't done in a while, and tells Mac about all this stuff going on. Of course.
He's at Berry Bling's mansion, going behind your back, spending time with him and playing with his mountains of expensive toys without you, just like he has been for the last 3 weeks, right under your little button nose. But that's only if I had to guess.
So Mac ends up going to the bar to drink away his troubles, which kind of copies the whole SpongeBob movie trope, where like they're at a candy store instead of an actual bar. And he's really depressed, so he starts having sugar. Oh no, this is so bad for him. So he starts freaking out, running around, and he is not himself anymore, even talking to himself for an extended amount of time. When he goes to find Bloo and ready to confront him, he gets thrown into a closet. What the heck? Then he sees a bunch of shrines and pictures, all of Bloo, and it's like, whoa, this rich kid is obsessed.
100! That seat's taken! Mac! Mac's the one!
Oh no!
And at first it's like really terrifying until you realize that this is not the rich kid, it's Barry from the second season. This little pink girl that was obsessed with Bloo and trying to split up Bloo and Mac. Yeah, she's back, and it's funny because the plot is pretty similar, just this time she has money for him. So it's kind of like they're redoing a plot, but they're not really keeping the same jokes or anything. It's still a unique episode. So she drives this train and basically puts Mac on a rubber band ball, since that's where she was in the last episode, okay? I love how she's like the villain. It's just her dressing up as humans a bunch of different times. It's not getting old for me at all. And right before she's about to kill Bloo, of course, Bloo comes to his senses and stops the whole situation. Which, why does it always have to be like last minute, Bloo? Like, why can't you just help him slightly earlier? Or, I don't know, not cheat on him? It's just ridiculous the way these guys' dynamic works, and I don't think Bloo and Mac fully have it resolved by the time they walk away, but I guess you're like, at least Barry's gone, okay?
And you know what? He would love you. He loves the older ladies.
Ooh!
The next episode I really don't remember super well. It's episode 9, Ticket to Rod, and Rod is referencing this really famous action star, kind of like the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or David Hasselhoff type, and the tickets to see his new movie. It starts out with Mac and Bloo trying to win this radio contest with a radio imaginary friend, and oh, this poor guy, he is taken advantage of so much by Bloo. They're like just trying to pay attention and win this contest by staying up all night, and it's really fun affair. Like, I remember doing stuff like this when I was a kid, but you know, you never actually win stuff. The odds are just so against you. Unless you guys have won stuff before. If so, put something in the comment and I will be jealous.
It's up to us now, Bammer.
It's Boomer.
We must stick to our guns so them tickets can be won.
They spend most of their night eating, playing cards, and just plain hanging out, which is actually so funny because this guy is an imaginary friend. And Blue actually has to go to the bathroom, so he runs away from the contest for 2 seconds, only for Frankie to jump in and win the tickets. Oh my god, yay! So Frankie never wins anything. This is kind of a nice win for her. I also feel like I haven't seen a good episode with her in a while, so I like that she's actually getting the win. So they start fighting about who's going to the concert and how this is going to be divvied up, and Frankie essentially is like, I'm going to be taking Mac, which is really sweet. Mac is still having a crush on her, which is so funny because I forgot that was even happening, and he's just so into it. He cares about her more than the concert even, which is so funny because of course Blue can't relate to that.
Someone made you breakfast! Delicious, huh?
Blue starts sucking up to her and cannot get her to change her mind. So her and Max start hanging out and watching TV shows, having a good time. And honestly, this is what I like to do with my friends. Gather around and make fun of TV shows. Like, they're really bonding here, and I like it.
What an idiot! A cool idiot! Ha 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 ha! Sorry.
So Blue goes to Madame Foster, of all people, wasn't expecting that, trying to get her to take him to this whole movie thing. He, like, lies to her about Rod and, like, says he knows him and is, like, trying to get her to get these tickets, and honestly, it kind of works.
Oh, it's just he's gonna be at his premiere tomorrow night, but I gave Frankie and Mac my tickets.
So he ends up telling Mr. Harriman that Frankie was trying to go out that night, which is really disrespectful, Blue. So her and Mac don't go. Oh my gosh. So they get left behind, of course, only for Madame Foster to come in ready to go. But Mr. Harriman takes away the tickets. Oh my gosh. So it's so impossible for Blue to get to this event.
You have won! Come by my office to redeem your prize.
Eventually, Madame Foster decides to go and takes the radio with her. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Blue kind of loses in this situation. We think all hope is lost and he's just drinking a juice box when he sees Jackie. You know, little green explanation point? Yeah, Jackie reveals that apparently he knows Rod really well and can get them tickets. Okay, so Blue is finally getting into the clear. They get the tickets, they look kind of different, so you know immediately something's up here. There can't be a win this early in it.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the right movie.
Whoa, Rod did you a solid.
So when they get to the movie, they watch it, and halfway through, when they see Rod picking daisies, it's kind of clear that that's not the same movie Blue wanted to see. And the new one is the one he really wants to see, so he actually leaves the movie, disrespectful, and goes to beg Madame Foster to let him in.
Coming through, big celeb right here. Hey, babe, let's do lunch.
A lot of gall, Blue. That was going too far. I don't know why he has to make a public scene in front of everybody just to see a movie. Like, you can get it on streaming, Blue, 20 years from now. So he ends up getting in, finally, and he actually causes a ruckus to a point where Rod stops the entire movie, points to Blue, and kicks him out for being disrespectful.
Stop the movie! Stop the movie! I have just had a disturbing call from a life-saving friend. Apparently someone here has crashed this premiere.
Okay, yeah, so Blue's getting a lot more karma throughout the season than I remember, but I kind of like this. How did I not remember, like, any of these episodes? They clearly have funny story beats. Like, I could tell that these were something I would have clinged onto, but this must have been just, like, slightly after I was watching this channel as much. Like, I must have shifted to Nickelodeon because I thought I was, like, more grown up, but hey, it's still funny to see that this whole show was going on, like, perfectly without me.
Got you!
Now, we've seen Halloween episodes before. Foster had one in essentially its first season. I mean, it wasn't targeted as a Halloween episode, but it felt like it. It was Blue, and he looks like a ghost, and everybody in the house is scared of him. This next one is a Halloween episode. It's called Nightmare on Wilson Way, and I feel like if the other one more directly referenced Halloween, it would have been a Halloween episode, but this one is probably their definitive Halloween episode. So they're all getting ready for Halloween once again, and Foster's has like a whole way of doing it that is really complicated. Everybody has such hilarious costumes throughout this. Like, Frankie is dressed up as a Powerpuff Girl, which is shout out to Craig McCracken.
Frankie, have you seen my bow? Knew I should have been bubbled.
Coco is dressed up as a bird. Blue, I barely know what he is. And yeah, Madame Foster has the funniest outfits throughout this. They tie Mac to the bed because obviously he's not trusted around candy, and this time they're taking it super seriously. I do kind of remember this part in the episode because I remember Mac having an issue with the candy.
You pull that same trick on the house year after year, and we're sick of it.
Blue has this recurring joke of trying to get people to open this peanut brittle because he's just so obsessed with pranking everybody. But it turns out Mac already expects this because he did it last year. And so he goes to Eduardo, who also he did it to last year. That's when we start getting everybody's stories of like the moment they were scared by this peanut brittle and how it affected everybody, which is hilarious storytelling. I feel like they do such a good job at like explaining a giant timeline of events within like 2 seconds, and they do it great in this episode.
Blue, you do that same trick year after year.
So when Blue finally gets his joke in, Mr. Harriman is the one to open the peanut brittle, but it kills him. Oh my gosh. And yeah, you are convinced that Mr. Harriman is dead.
Okay, plan B. Live! Live, I say!
Despite the fact it's a kid's show and you know he's probably not, but you watch it as if he is. They give you a lot of signals that he probably isn't alive, which is kind of stressful because I feel like it does such a good job at convincing you. So Blue uses this Weekend at Bernie's technique to make it look like Mr. Harriman is still alive, and honestly it's so funny because he just says grounded to everybody, which is probably what Mr. Harriman would have did anyway.
Go to bed! Cheerio! Blah, you're grounded. Is that a costume? Blah, blah, kippers, cricket, Laurie, Bob's your uncle.
Then he buries him in the backyard and just goes trick-or-treating. I don't know why Blue is this messed up. Like, dead or not, these are Blue's choices, and he's fully going through with the fact Mr. Harriman's dead. So he starts getting extra paranoid that Mr. Harriman is coming up as a zombie, and you know what? It definitely seems like it's about to happen. So he hides in the closet, only to find Eduardo.
Thief from what?
We learned that over the course of this episode, Mr. Harriman bites a lot of different people, all making them zombies as well. I mean, Walking Dead must have been a big thing at this time because this is such a long recurring joke. With all the main characters kind of coming together to combat all the zombies, it's kind of cute. Dare I say a Halloween episode is cute, but you know what I mean. So everybody is dying one by one, and I don't think this could be the finale of Foster, so there's no way this is all real. But the fact I'm questioning it so much as the show's going on just says a lot about how good the episode is. They try to warn the entire house what's about to happen, but it turns out they're all zombies too. Oh my gosh. The only person that's not a zombie is Max. So Blue runs up to his room to ask for Mac's help.
You really killed Mr. Harriman!
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn.
What are we going to do?
And Mac doesn't really know what's going on, so he can't really, do anything about it. Blue ends up pouring out a bunch of candy and using Mac as his shield of defense, which is so crazy. I want to feel bad that he activated Mac, but then again, assuming all these zombies are against you, why would you not try to do everything you could to survive?
No, wait! I didn't mean to kill you! No!
Master Beauregard, snap out of it! It was a trick!
Trick?
I don't know why, when we learn that this is all just a prank, that everybody gets mad at Blue. Yeah, the rest of the episode is everybody being like, that was a prank, Blue! We're tired of this peanut brittle prank, so we're all turned on you. And of course, they're so upset because Mac's just running out in the streets, and the episode ends there, which is insane that they... Of course, out of all shows, a Halloween episode of this show can end on a bad note, but still, it leaves me feeling haunted. I love that Mac is just there at the end of the episode. They're not even caring about concluding believing these stories anymore. All around, really good Halloween episode, and next year I'm definitely going to be tuning into this when I get in the holiday spirit.
Hey, what's that?
Got Bio? Get Bio!
The next episode is probably my absolute favorite. Episode 11, Better Off Ed. And it's an Eduardo episode, which we haven't gotten in a long time, at least. Like, I remember Eddie Monster, like the one where Terrence and him teamed up to wrestle, but all around, like, we haven't seen him get his own episode in a while. And it starts off really bold. Like, it's a bunch of memories that have already happened throughout the show, like the cookie stand episode, the Dio commercial, and it turns out Eduardo is placing himself in all these episodes that had already happened, replacing Blue.
Why must you tempt me?
It turns out he's telling these stories to the nursery kids, and it's so cute to think that he's like trying to live this double life, because he doesn't want to look like a baby, which he actually is. He cries all the time. They even reference the pilot somehow, you know, like when he gets visit the monster. I love that the animators are going back to this, because it's just so interesting. We meet this one little nursery kid that's actually the main character of the babies. He's Scrappy, and I don't know why, I just think that's so cute.
That baby Blue is, Yeti?
But he can't get away with this forever. Frankie knows that this is going on, but for the most part, she's like, don't worry, like, it's okay to lie because nobody's gonna find out the truth. Okay, Frankie, that's a fair assessment. So in the meantime, Blue is actually planning a first annual indoor paintball party, which I can't believe it. And of course, nobody wants to be a part of it. The next day, Eduardo has some news stories to tell the babies, this time about Blue and how much of a baby he is. Yeah, it's like he's trashing Blue this whole time.
Baby Blue! Baby Blue! Blue is Baby Blue! He's so cool!
Meanwhile, Scrappy is not in the nursery, making Eduardo really nervous that he's going out telling people what stories he's told about him and Blue. So for most of this episode, it's Eduardo trying to stop all these conversations from happening. And honestly, it's so funny because then Jackie finds out, which, why is this guy a main character now? And then Jackie starts to tell people, so then Eduardo has to start doing stuff for him. Then he has to distract Blue. And
What's so funny? What are you laughing at, kid?
next thing you know, Scrappy and Blue come face to face with each other, starting to get a lot of tension because Scrappy treats him like a baby. Of course, Eduardo is trapped, so he can't really do anything about it. Kind of the worst case scenario for somebody that's lying so much. And yeah, all the babies in the nursery start messing with Blue, which is so funny that it bothers him this much. Like, of course, a bunch of babies would trigger Blue because he does not want to look like a baby at all.
Shut up! You're the babies, not me! Come on!
Blue can kind of pick up on what's going on, so he makes this all about his paintball competition once again. He's like, if you're really not a baby, then face me in this competition. And all the babies are there, so he can't say no, which is kind of a cool way to get stuck in the stakes.
I'll show you that I'm just as brave and cool as Eduardo. Shucks, I'll take all of you on.
So now we get this whole competition with Eduardo protecting all these little babies, and Blue is just merciless when it comes to them. You feel so bad. Blue wins, and despite having that like kind of negative ending, Ed comes clean to all the little babies and explains what happened, and they say that they respect him anyway, and it's not bad that they cry.
What do you mean? You swerved Scrappy? Yeah, he almost nailed me right in the kisser. Abby! Abby!
I love how this whole episode actually talks about being a crybaby, and we get babies that cry as a part of the main plot. It's just so well written, and seeing Ed care so much about his reputation, reinventing the memories that we've seen in past episodes to fit himself into it, like, this is just such a classic idea for an episode. I feel like I want to see this in other cartoons too. So yeah, that was Better Off Ed.
I like chocolate milk.
Oh no! Not today!
Go home.
Yeah!
Okay.
So this next episode is more of a conversation than any of the episodes I think I've ever seen of this show. It's called The Little Peas, episode 12, and I was not expecting this to exist. It feels like one of those bottle episodes because we kind of take a break from the main characters, the main cast, and focus on one's friend in the house, which I'm surprised we never did specifically before. Like, I feel like if you asked me out of context if they did this, I would say yes, but no, this is the first time I'm seeing it. And this plot is so unique, so it actually takes us back to an episode from season 3.
But there's only a couple hours until the news crew gets here.
And I am still naked!
And I'm still bored.
Episode where Foster's got a security system to keep Cheese out of the house. And you know what? It's actually told from a completely different perspective. Like, all the events that happen in the episode are exactly the same, but this time it comes from the point of view of a little pea that cares too much about Frankie. So yeah, we get the normal scenes from the episode where they're all getting ready for the security system, and this little pea just kind of talks to everybody who have the same lines, mind you. Like, nothing in the episode's changed. It's just added sequences with this little pea trying to back up Frankie in every situation.
The house is clean enough.
Tell me about it.
What? Crummy news show? You guys are way out of line. And Frankie does so much for all of us. She cooks, cleans, dresses us. Make sure we're happy, healthy, and safe. Woo!
He can't do anything the way that the normal-sized humans do, so it's literally him, like, fighting with the rug, trying to get cheese. He spends literally, like, 30 seconds trying to get down a single staircase, and honestly, it's just so funny. He can't really communicate with anybody, so he finds himself in a lot of confusing situations. Like, Jackie and the pink squirrel, turns out they have a relationship? Okay.
I gotta get back to the fire.
Alone at last.
Thanks for nothing, you... Ew, gross.
Wasn't expecting that kind of lore drop, but whatever. And yeah, the little pea is just never getting responses to his questions, but he remains optimistic and really, like, gung-ho about helping Frankie, so it's hard not to, like, feel bad for him. He tries to warn Frankie about the security system going wrong, and even when they get locked out of the house, we get a little cutscene from the actual episode, and then he's back again. It turns out he's the only one in the house, and he's the smallest, so he can't open the door. It's just a lot of his little adventures, like he becomes stuck in the rug when trying to get to the door and battles a bunch of insects and gum, and it's just an action episode that nobody recognizes in, which I did not expect to enjoy so much. When I was just sitting on the couch watching this, I was debating skipping it because I'm like, there's not a lot of substantial things happening in this, until I realized it's a lot more impressive than I remembered. Not that I've seen this episode, but like all the conflict seems to parallel so well, and it's not like they're recreating this episode beat for beat, it's just they're copying the story and creating an entirely new story out of it.
I'm too late.
I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, me neither.
After everything I did, I tried so hard.
Which would have been way better than a situation we haven't seen yet because we'd worry about missing some of the plot. When Frankie's like really disappointed and nothing works out, the little green guy ends up jumping into Frankie's ear and giving her a little pep talk, and it turns out that is what actually gives her the courage to stand up and talk to the news reporters and promote Foster's, despite the fact that Cheese just destroyed the house.
Friends at Foster's have been suffering, and we need your help. We need
food!
Food! Yeah, and
shelter!
Shelter! That's it, cause Foster's has been like this for...
Like always!
Like always!
And it's cute because the little pea is whispering in her ear the whole time, and I cannot tell if this was the way it was originally scripted. Like, it seems like Frankie's pauses are just natural, but then you learn it's because there was a little pea, and that's so cute. Yeah, so it ends on a really positive note. We have a really fun, entertaining episode, despite the fact that we get none of our main characters, and I can't believe how creative they are with working this into 22 minutes. I was enjoying every second of it. It reminds me of that episode of Fairly Odd Parents where they redid the same plot with Timmy Turner becoming popular, but then they had Chester and AJ's perspective, like it's them starting a newspaper and turning against Timmy, despite the fact the same exact events are going on in that episode. And I don't know if they saw this and decided to copy it, but both of these are really astounding premises that I feel like, this can't be a copy technique. It's just good storytelling, like showing different sides of the same situation. So props goes to Foster's for this episode. I can't believe I slept on this one. I must have been way too old to actually acknowledge how good it was.
I am free!
This takes us to our finale, episode 13 of season 5, Let Your Hair Down, which is, Hare is spelled H-A-R-E, so it's referencing Mr. Harriman, the rabbit. I love when they do stuff like that. The last episode I remember with Mr. Harriman is the camping episode, and then, of course, the one where he goes viral for, like, singing to Madame Foster. So this guy's got some funny episodes.
Very well, then. I believe this is yours.
And this one is no different. Like, this is so impressive. We follow him through his daily schedule. Of course, he's obsessed with schedules and keeping everybody else on track. We get a little montage of, like, how it goes every day. Apparently, Bloo almost gets sold all the time. And Mr. Harriman doesn't even care about Bloo, which is so sad to think about because they're living together most of the episodes.
I'm here!
3:14 and 32 seconds, Master Mac. How many times must you be taught this lesson on the importance of punctuality?
Yeah, so he's just a buzzkill all around, and everybody is getting so fed up with all the rules and everything. They're like, we need to, like, actually turn on this guy and do something. So they see Bloo, the only guy who could drive Mr. Harriman insane, which he also could drive me insane, too. Hire Bloo if you want to bother somebody. He's running around with his paddle ball, and he's like, I will not do this unless there's something in it for me, which, of course, there is. Mr. Harriman takes away his paddle ball. That was quick. The episode quickly shifts into something I didn't expect, where Bloo is forcing Mr. Harriman to have fun with him, and we get so many funny montages of, like, Mr. Harriman not enjoying himself, and they're going to Tijuana and having a good time, but yeah, I mean, obviously Bloo is having the good time. I don't know how he has access to all these places, despite the fact he's so, like, naive and selfish. Like, how does he know how to do this stuff? Then when they're at the top of a cliff and Mr. Harriman finally lets go of the schedule, he's like turned into a new person. He takes off his clothes and dumps into a giant lake, which I was not expecting. Next thing you know, he's showing up all hippie-like with the hat of the Cat in the Hat, which I was not expecting. It just looks like he's like a full-on stoner.
What?
Call me Harry.
Okay. But, it's 6:12 and 30 seconds. I'll get dinner right.
Come on, Frankenfurter. Loosen up, baby.
So suddenly the house has no rules, which, oh my god, I can't believe they never did an episode like this, now that I think about it. There's no rules, so everybody is going haywire, and nothing is clean, nothing is proper anymore, things are just not okay, and they cannot snap Mr. Harriman out of it, so nothing is going well. They even have a campfire in the main dining room, which, ew, how are you guys doing that? That's so funny.
If you can't beat him, join him.
No.
She said
Join.
Join.
The only reason this matters is because there's a tax collector that's trying to collect the bills that Mr. Harriman would usually be the one responsible for, but since he's not around, he doesn't get to fix the situation, so everybody else doesn't really know what to do or how to go about it, and Mr. Harriman is just stuck in this whole daze. Until he has a giant realization.
Okay, Pinky, it's go time.
It's so funny, he just like magically transforms because of all this stress into a normal, proper English rabbit, which I don't know why this seems like an ultimate transformation situation, but it's funny the way it all wraps up. Seeing everybody in the house go completely nuts because he's not giving them rules is so perfect for this show because Mr. Harriman can only do so many things, you know, like he has a schedule, he's always just being the one to enforce the rules, so it's cool to have him actually be the laid back one. And the fact it's such a simple premise coming in way later at season 5 just shows how many ideas these people come up with. It's just so impressive at a certain point. And that finally leaves us off the entire 5th season. Whew! From Cheese turning into an alien, to Mr. Harriman going haywire, Ed lying about all the episodes that happened before this, we dealt with a lot of really fun moments in the 5th season of Foster. So I'm just happy we didn't have like a 2-part episode to interrupt the perfect episodic structure, which we're obviously going to have to worry about for the next season because it's the final one, Destination Imagination movie, so please stick around until I get that done. I was surprised all these episodes were just so phenomenal. It's almost like this show knows itself better than like anybody else would know it. And seeing like the little teardrop, all the side characters like the P coming to life and telling a really compelling story while also as wacky as a Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, it's good. I mean, sure, we have some character questionable actions like Madam Foster going completely nuts in this season, but not for like a boring reason. At least everything just remains entertaining. But what did you guys like about this season? Like, was it the P part? Was it Bloo becoming rich? Like, what was your guys' favorite episode? Please comment below, and thank you guys so much for supporting these. Like, if you want to subscribe to Johnny Tunes, I'm going to keep making cartoon retrospectives and probably put it there. But until next time, everybody, this is Johnny 2000 and Johnny Tunes signing off.